Hello and welcome to the Radical Podcast, inspired by the essence of the word radical, proceeding from the root. We explore the roots of metaphysical wisdom.
This season is all about divination, tarot, and the power held within our intuition. This is The Radical with Nicole and Christina, the two metaphysical girls in the material world. Hello and welcome to The Radical. I'm Nicole.
And this is Christina.
Welcome to today's episode, our last Capricorn episode, The World. It feels really fitting to be recording this on January 1st.
Yes, new calendar year. I have a good feeling about 2026. I think it's going to be a good year.
I was thinking about Saturn a lot yesterday while I was doing my notes. This is a Saturn card, and I was thinking about how Saturn is like a gateway, like a threshold.
Mm-hmm.
And we're recording this on January 1st, the gateway between 2025 and 2026. When I was doing my research yesterday, it really felt to me that this card feels like a snapshot of that precise moment right when something ends and something else new begins. Kind of like the Eight of Wands is like a snapshot of motion. That's kind of how this card started to feel. Just that moment.
It's very much if the Wheel of Fortune is about, well, it's about the Wheel of Fortune. I was seeing this really as the Wheel of Time, right? Because Saturn was really deeply connected with time and the edges and the beginning, that this is the wheel that is spinning without us having anything to do with it. Are we just along for the ride of the world card? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay, I have one quote to read, and then Christina's going to go over her list. And I also want to say that at the end of the episode, I'm using a new deck. I got a new deck for the holidays.
I just looked at the notes and the pictures, and those are new. Those pictures look amazing. The cards are gorgeous. I can't wait to hear about them.
So my quote is from the Zodiac Tarot Guidebook. And in it, she writes, "The world is a card that completes a journey, and Saturn is the planet that severs, sets boundaries, and separates. Saturn concludes this cycle, severs what's unnecessary, and allows us to embark on this new journey." So perfect for today, the first day of the new year.
Yeah. The card name, starting right away, just getting into it with the list. The card name is the World, sometimes called the Universe. Number, Roman numeral, XXI, 21. The element is Earth. Is this a yes or no card? This is a yes. It feels very yes to me, this card. This card, the World Tarot card, is ruled by the planet Saturn. So the zodiac signs associated with this card are from Saturn's influence. And you remember we just did Saturn. We just talked about Saturn. And then I revisited my notes from our personalities of the planets, and we'll talk more about these attributes of the planet Saturn. But it's just like Nicole said, it's the end and it's the beginning. That's Saturn. It's the edge of, it was for the longest time, the edge of our known universe, the edge of what we can see with our naked eye. It deals with Saturn energy is responsibilities, maturity, self-criticism, self-discipline, structure, limitations, and challenges. And we'll talk more about all of those when we get into card comparisons and the card meanings. The house are the houses associated with Saturn. We have the 10th house with Capricorn, the house of enterprise. The mantra can be I use. but also the 11th house, classically Saturn with Aquarius. The house of blessings, the mantra for the house is I know. Modern, the Aquarius planet is Uranus.
Uranus.
Yes. The crystals can be Lemurian seed quartz. I have not heard of this before, but once I looked it up, it's a clear quartz variety and it has ladder like horizontal striations on its surface. I feel like I've seen this crystal before. I might even have one if I kind of looked through my clear quartz. And it's different than the, I don't want to say plain clear quartz, but the unstriated clear quartz, because there's no such thing as plain clear quartz. They're all special. But the Lemurian seed quartz is thought to hold ancient wisdom, and it's for spiritual growth. Probably, I would like to think about it as the ladder, as a step ladder, and it's for unity and healing. And they could come from Brazil specifically. Selenite is another crystal that's associated with the world. It's clearing, it's peaceful, it's got strong spiritual connection. And also clear quartz, classic, not plain, classic clear quartz. Clear quartz amplifies. Clear quartz is like the full moon. It amplifies what you're already feeling and how you're feeling. It can clear your energy and it can hold your energy, and then it can amplify your energy. Clear quartz comes from deep within the Earth's crust. It's from silicone and oxygen under extreme heat and pressure. Do you know that it could come from Brazil, Arkansas, and North Carolina, and also Madagascar and Russia? It's fun to kind of,
Cool.
if you have a crystal shop that tells you where your crystals come from. The correspondences for the World Tarot card, the Hebrew letter is Tav or Tau. The symbol is the cross, and the meaning is completion. The cross can be a symbol of the 4 directions as well. The Tree of Life is the 22nd pathway between Yasod, the sphere of foundation, but also change and magic, and the sphere of Malkuth, kingdom, the material world. And these 2 spheres are at the very bottom center. They're in the center pillar at the very bottom. This is the connection, the last, like Malkuth is the material world where our bodies are. And the 22nd pathway is the connection between that sphere and the whole rest of the tree of life. The chakra in my book that I've been, one of my books that we have in our bibliography, is that the right word? It is bibliography, right? Has the chakra for the world as the stellar gateway, the cosmic portal. This is one of the chakras that I'm not as familiar with out of the core 7. And this one sits above the head. It is often connected with the soul star chakra and the earth star chakra. And it forms a vertical energy column with those other chakras. And as a gateway to higher consciousness, galactic wisdom, past life knowledge, and connecting with other star systems. This is very much in the ether, right?
Have you ever done an astral projection?
Not intentionally, but I have been I've had a few shavasanas and a few guided meditations where I have left my body and I was traveling. And you know how like you're out of it, and then when your teacher starts talking, you're like, where am I? Like it pulls you back in. I've had unintentional astro projections, I think.
This chakra, it's making me think of all the star seeds.
Mm-hmm.
And I have astral projected to the Pleiades. If I am a star seed, I am Pleiadian.
What is your moon sign?
Taurus.
Well, when we did the ancient archetype on that cave painting, they had the 7 Pleiades, the 7 sisters, with the mural, with the cave painting of the Taurus. Do you remember us talking about that?
Mm-hmm.
There's a
I
deep
do.
connection with.
So we should think about doing an episode on star seeds.
Put it on the list. And we have the Star Tarot card coming up because we're about to be in Aquarius season. So we are in, listeners, we are in those houses. We are in that part of the wheel of the zodiac year where we are up in the Ethernet, right? Right? Capricorn is still in the body, but when we get into Aquarius and Pisces, we are going to be floating off into. We're going
Woo-woo
to,
land.
yeah, Aquarius, we're going to be floating away. And then when we get into Pisces, we're going to be swimming deep, 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 deep. Yeah, let's do it. But I learned about the Stellar Gateway today and Lemurian seed quartz. So, hey, that's the vibe of this card. Let's do it. Let's see where the world card takes us.
I think Aquarius would be a good time to talk about star seeds. That feels
Mm-hmm.
very on par with Aquarian energy.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
moving on.
I learned about the Stellar Gateway, but when I was contemplating the chakras for the world, I had already wrote down, to me, it's your whole energy body. That is the world card. It is all your chakras combined. Even if they are one chakra, sometimes one chakra is more prevalent than the other ones. You can feel more energy, like in your solar plexus, or maybe you feel more grounded, or maybe you're in your head. Just be aware of that. But if you're thinking about the energy of the world, it is your whole energy system. That is what the world represents, is wholeness, totality, even if it's unbalanced, even if you're not connected to, your third eye, doesn't matter. It's all of them together. The symbols on the card, I'm just going to talk about a few. The wreath for achievement and completion. Oftentimes on some of the cards, and we'll get into this in card comparison, if the wreath is strung with red ribbon in the sign of the infinity, that's as a symbol of the cycle, that it's a never-ending circle. That infinity symbol is there. And sometimes the circle is an Ouroboros, which is the snake eating its own tail, which is a classic symbol of the universe, of the constantly repeating cycle of the universe. That wreath with that red ribbon, and red being vitality, being life force, being energy. The dancer, harmony, balance, movement, and change as its own entity, but when it's encircled or when it's inside that wreath, that just shows us the world, that the world is a constant flux, but it's encapsulated in this predictable season of change. And on the classic Rider-Waite-Smith deck, and where they drew their inspiration, where Pamela Smith drew her, right? Pamela Smith, where she drew her inspiration for the illustration, the 4 elements in the corners of the lion, the cow, the eagle, and the angel for Aquarius, for prana, for breath, is wholeness and integration and completion. The 4 corners, it's like I just talked about the Hebrew letter of Tav and it being the cross, meaning the 4 directions as well. So it's an overlay of that the 4 directions in itself are used as a symbol of completion, of a wholeness, of balance. And that is the themes of this card. The history, if you go back and you see older cards or cards from other decks, generally there is some kind of circle, and enclosed in the circle is something to represent an idyllic place. At some point, a winged creature came into being holding up that circle with that idyllic like countryside in the middle of it. And it had to show a, not as, maybe it was like a separation. Some people say that it was that the goal is a separate place where the circle was, but I see it as it's a symbol of the constant flow, the constant cycle of life. That's what the circle represents to me. And you might see it differently, listeners, when you look at other cards and you look at other representations of this. In the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, there is the dancer, the figure. You can see generally it's naked with a shawl draped across. There is some interpretations that the top half is female and the bottom half is male. Did you run across any of that when you were looking
I
at your
did not.
cards? It's an interesting take on it, and it's an interesting interpretation, and you might see that or hear that, listeners. And it's just to represent the wholeness and the balance and the unity of yin and yang, that the two are existing together. And the leg placement of the dancer and the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, with one foot, with one like shin crossed behind the other in a cross position, is an echo of the Hanged One, which is showing the character's journey through the tarot.
I did read that the Hanged One is connected to this card through numerology. So we have 21. If you flip it around, it's 12, the Hanged One. So that did come up for me.
Did we talk about how the first half of the Major Arcana is one journey and the second half is a second journey?
It's like the midpoint or the turning point.
I have a note written somewhere in one of my many books about the first. Oh, here it is. 1 to 7 is physical, 8 to 14 is spiritual, and then 9 to 21 is ethereal. So it's 3 phases of the Major Arcana: physical, spiritual, ethereal.
So for the number 21, these two numbers together convey a balancing of our yin and yang within ourselves, and also a new level of healthier and balanced relationships. You are getting that balance of independence and individuality, as well as intimacy and connection, or whatever else you need to receive. So we're balancing our yin and yang, and then our interactions with other people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, card comparisons. My Zodiac Tarot, very similar to the Rider-Waite-Smith card. We have a naked figure standing in the middle of 2 ferns, and the ferns make a wreath-like shape. The way the figure's hands are positioned reminds me a little bit of the Magician.
Mm-hmm.
She has one hand with all her fingers pointing up, the other hand fingers pointing down. There's also a small sun and a small moon on either side of her, and this, I think, conveys that balancing of our yin and our yang, like we just talked about with the number 21. And draped across her wrists, there's this blue scarf with tiny yellow stars. And it actually reminded me of the Temperance card from this same deck that we talked about a couple episodes ago. On the Temperance card, there's 2 cups with like an ethereal looking substance flowing between them. And this scarf looks like that flowing ethereal goodness between the 2 cups on the Temperance card. Now it's just kind of solid blue with the yellow stars.
Temperance is the 14 card. which is the last card in that spiritual journey.
Yes, yes. And that's kind of what I wrote. I wrote the scarf could be, I see it as a metaphor of that which we have been working on throughout our hero's journey through the major arcana. It has been tempered and it's now quote unquote complete. In the 2, 3, and 4 of Pentacles, I felt like we were dealing a little bit with attachment and non-attachment. And I think this card picks up on the non-attachment because of how lightly draped the scarf is around her wrists. She's not clutching it or clinging to it. In the Medicine Woman Tarot, this card has been renamed Dancer. There's a globe, and the globe is showing us North America and South America. The bottom half of the globe, where South America is, we have a variety of items: a bow, some arrows, a purse. There's a basket of food, some gourds, some seeds. And then where Canada is, we have 5 women dancing in a circle and they're holding hands. And this reminded me of when we were talking about the 2 of Pentacles being light on your feet. This card to me is saying we've learned a lot working our way through the previous 21 cards, and we've learned how to successfully navigate the dance of life. In the Antique Anatomy Tarot, we have, it looks a lot like the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. We have the 4 suits / elements depicted in the 4 corners in the same way, except because it's Antique Anatomy Tarot, they're the skulls of the 4 creatures in each corner with some leaves growing out from the bone. The figure in the center of the wreath, first of all, makes me think of like a sculpture. The limbs and where the head would be, it looks like it's been kind of chiseled away. And then the middle section, to me, looks like there's some kind of dissection going on. It doesn't look like what I would expect opening up a person in that area. Like, I don't really see stomach, intestines, so on. I think I see kidneys. What was interesting too, over the right shoulder, there's hair, but there's no head. So I don't know what all is going on in this card, but what it feels like to me is this sense of making something into a monument, because we have this element of the stone, while simultaneously studying the inner workings of something, which is perhaps this like dissection. So I don't know. It's an interesting card to look at. And then my last card is from Mystic Mondays. This one was fun to look at. The colors are really beautiful. We have greens, some light blues, lavender, and purple. In the very center of the card, the symbol on the card to me looks like the atom symbol. So you have kind of like this center circle and then like these ovals overlapping to make the atom symbol. It's on our phone. So I put the little purple emoji in our notes, but the atom symbol is in your phone. And I kind of went down a tiny rabbit hole. I was like, okay, well, why did she pick this symbol? And I typed into Google something like the spiritual significance of the atom. And I'm just going to read a little bit from this article I found. But I mean, we could probably do a podcast on this. So, atoms are our neighbors, kin, elders, building blocks, architects, and spiritual guides. They know the arts of balance, adjustment, conflict, transformation, stability, and creative instability. They came into existence long before we did, and most will survive long after we perish. Furthermore, it is conceivable, as the Swedish artist Hilma af Klint believed, that atoms possess their own spiritualities. She painted a series on atoms in the early 20th century and is said to have believed, according to one curator, that they undergo a process of development and movement towards oneness, very similar to the spiritual path and goals that we humans share. Absolutely fascinating. But it makes so much sense if we attribute so much to astrology and these large celestial bodies that we can see. Well, as above, so below.
Mm-hmm.
The macro, the micro. So I really enjoyed reading that. Everything I just read to me, I think, sounds like the themes of the world card, especially that part about the process of development and movement towards oneness, which I really think is what the Major Arcana's hero's journey is all about. So those were my cards.
Moving into my card comparison, starting with the Spirit Song Tarot. It's number 21, The World. The author has chosen the whale as the spirit guide, and with the two keywords of fulfillment and celebration. Whales as spirit animals. I'm just touching on a few of the attributes of whales. They are incredibly complicated, and there's so many different types of whales with different characteristics that, listeners, if you are being drawn or if you're seeing whale and you know what kind it is, go look up specifically the characteristics of that, because each one has specific qualities and specific energies. But generally, they're very long-lived, longevity. The bowhead whales can live up to 200 years. Whenever we think about long-lived animals, it's connected to wisdom and knowledge. Because whales live in the deep areas of the ocean, we're talking about the energy of exploring your inner depths and your intuition, that deep water. There's a call to trust, cosmic and universal guidance and connection. Whales can also be a symbol of ancestral knowledge, especially humpback whales in some cultures. And one of my favorite things about whales is communication. The whale songs, the clicks, the echoes, they use, they learn and they change their songs, and they have dialects. That is also how they navigate songs and vibrations. Because whales have long migrations as well, they are a symbol of journeys. And then if you combine that with the deep waters, then it's journeys of the inner truth and healing. A lot on whales. I wanted to go off and just talk about whales for 45 minutes. And I have another deck is using a whale as well as this one. I'm going to talk more about whales in a second. For the Wild Unknown Tarot, it's Roman numeral 21, XXI, the world. Keywords wholeness and completion. To me, it looks as this, I think I read somewhere it's called the cosmic egg. You know, we talked about the wreath, we talked about the circle, we're talking about the Ouroboros. There's also some authors and some interpretations are the cosmic egg. To me, this looks like it's made up of different layers to represent the different elements. You know, one has flowers, one has a reptilian skin, one has lines, and those circles are in the ether. So I think I see all the elements represented in that card. The author writes, "It's rare to experience this energy, as we are usually consumed by wanting, needing, and achieving. So when this card appears, contemplate for a moment the idea of being whole." And that's what this card in that wild unknown represents, that cosmic egg, whole and complete. And the secrets of the witch's garden, it's Roman numeral 21 XXI. It's called the world. And the key word here is integration. This is an echo of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, where we have a dancing figure surrounded by a wreath. The author and the illustrator have used different beings to represent the 4 directions and the 4 elements, but they're still there. The child, the fairy, the fawn, and the cat. The dancing witch has a red feather in her hair, calling to the fool and the sun. She's holding, and we didn't talk about the batons yet, but this witch is holding her wands, which are an extension of her manifestation powers, and she's holding one in each hand to show her mastery of her manifestation powers, that she is in this world of balance. She has one arm up, pointing up, and one arm down. Nicole mentioning that as above, so below gesture. In this deck, in this card, this is, I want to be in this card. There's a cauldron, there's tarot cards. She's got the mushrooms or the toadstools in a fairy circle. There's her witch's hat, just a representation of her tools, a representation of the work that she's done. But everything is in a place where it's all come to be. This is a card to me that is just celebration and like wholeness, right? Completion, integration. Everything is working together in this card. I love it. In the Sacred She, this is Roman numeral 21, XXI, keyword wisdom. This card is very blue. I'm getting the impression of sunbeams coming through the top of the ocean surface, and there's a close-up of a incredibly knowing, softly gazing eye of a whale, and very friendly. The author highlights the nature of the whale being a mammal. It is an air-breathing being that lives in the ocean, highlighting us as human beings, a soul living in the material world. And as the whale needs to come up to the surface to pull in air to survive, we as spiritual beings having a human experience need to connect to pull in that cosmic guidance so that we can continue to survive in this human experience. The star seeds and the cosmic ladders and the Lemurian seed crystals. We need to touch the magic and the mystical and the otherworldly to survive in this material world. I love the way the author had that written. I'm going to quote the author here. Whales have an intelligence far greater than we comprehend. Their massive bodies and complex brains carry a consciousness that cultures from prehistory to the present have respected as holding knowledge of life's beginnings. Again, going back to life-giving energy of the water, a mammal living in the ocean, just the parallels of the experience that we're having, that the whale is having, that we're having together on this planet. It's lovely. It's a lot to think about. And when you look at the Rider-Waite-Smith card, and then you look at Nicole's Mystic Mondays card, all these cards make you feel things, and they have similar themes. But I love that we can see how different authors and illustrators have grown and how they have expanded the realm of this card. That it can be completion. You've finished your essay. To you are connected to the star seeds when you see this card and you're having a metaphysical experience. This card can mean all of that. It could be very material and very metaphysical. I love it.
Like that little bit that you read from the Sacred She Tarot guidebook. And I feel like that last sentence, we could reword it and read it as the atom carries a consciousness that cultures from prehistory to the present have respected as holding knowledge of life's beginning. So a
Yes.
really gigantic creature and a really teeny
Yes.
creature, but it's this idea of spanning a great deal of time and also containing wisdom and knowledge, therefore.
Yes. Oh, yes. Love it.
Self mastery and like mastering a craft is very Saturnian.
Mm-hmm. I get that sense of self mastery in the Secrets of the Witch's Garden. I feel that a lot with that because she has all her tools with her.
Yes.
And then I get the sense of cosmic connection when I look at your Mystic Mondays with the atom. And then I
Mm-hmm.
get the sense of being a spiritual being having a human experience when I look at the sacred she and the whale. It's like I'm having all these feelings and all these experiences from these different cards. What a fantastic study this has been for me. I haven't thought about this card in that way and really delved into it. So this has been one of my favorites. One of my favorites so far, the World card.
And the Secrets of the Witch's Garden, for whatever reason, what popped into my head almost immediately was this is one of my notes under like our meanings and readings when we put it all together, but the closing of a circle, because that card's so witchy and it reminded me of witch camp and being in
Mm-hmm.
community and closing our circle. Um, so in the sense of like we close the ceremony, but then if you think about drawing a circle, it's like that very last stroke
Mm-hmm.
of the pen to draw the last little bit of the circle.
Do you know this is also we're recording this on the first day of the calendar year, that the wheel of the year, it's a wheel, so it continuously goes, but it does have beginning and ends, just like the world, just like an atom, that we have this perfect cycle, but there's still points where it closes and points where it opens, points where something is finished and something begins and we start over again. It's that cosmic egg, it's that Ouroboros, but it does have completion, it does have closings, and it does have openings. Let's
Mm-hmm.
wrap our heads around that for a few moments, right?
So some other meanings, readings, and interpretations include closing of a circle, conclusion of a cycle, an achieved objective, fulfillment, culmination, unity, wholeness, and integration. Heard those words a ton,
Mm-hmm.
totally fit. Freedom, peace, acceptance, joy, prosperity, and abundance, presence, and being in a flow state. So if we take the more metaphysical meaning of this card, it's like you've done all this inner work and you are in harmony with the universe and feeling like you're really in the flow of things. Enlightenment, transcendence. And since we're about to start the cycle over, there's this sense of leveling up the next time around the major arcana, the next time we have a hero's journey. We're not starting over, we're starting again with everything we've acquired along our many journeys. Ascending to new levels of awareness and consciousness, commencement, starting again with our Saturnian experiences, lessons, wisdom, and maturity, which is another Saturnian kind of quality, maturity. And last but not least, it could be literal travel and exploration, which is exciting, of course.
Yeah.
And in reverse, the world card could mean being stagnant, being stuck in a rut, feeling hindered, or being hindered. You know, it could be an actual hindrance or maybe something that we perceive as a hindrance, feeling discouraged, having unfinished business, loose ends, or like we're holding on to something, you know, kind of like when we talked about the death card not being willing to let go. We could be holding on to something or someone, and we really just need to let it go to complete the cycle.
In the Secrets of the Witch's Garden, the question to write the reversal, what helps me live in the moment?
Have you ever been asked, like, it's like a career aptitude type question, but they'll ask you to figure out what your, you know, passion or purpose is. What do you like to do where you can lose track of time?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
To get into that flow state, to be
Mm-hmm.
doing something you enjoy so much that the rest of the world kind of melts away, right? To be in that place of balance and harmony.
Is it weird that like cleaning out my closet can give me
No,
that feeling?
no, because that's even more balancing. That's even more energy. To me, that's how I see possessions, as energy. So if you feel an energy blockage, moving and removing and giving away opens energy.
Are you ready for our messages from the universe?
I'm looking at the pictures of these cards, listeners, and you and I have contemplated what flowers were on other cards, and this deck tells you what flowers they are. That's
It does.
fantastic. We're going to learn about
Yes.
flowers.
And butterflies.
Oh,
So I want to introduce the deck because it is really awesome. It is called Enchanted Blossoms Empowerment Oracle, and this is by Carla Morrow. The back of the box kind of describes what's going on in this oracle deck. Palm-sized dragons with butterfly wings alight on a bouquet of wisdom in this charming oracle deck, drawing on memories of growing up in her family's flower shop and inspired by the book The Language of Flowers. Fantasy artist Carla Morrow combines the ornate feel of Victorian era illustration with her exquisite winged creatures to deliver a whimsical deck full of insight and wonder. So we have flowers, butterflies.
and
The
dragons.
butterflies kind of look like baby dragons. Yes, it's so cute. It goes on to say there are messages in flowers. The enchanted blossoms and their unique companions are ready to lift your spirits and help you discover the delights and positivity in your day-to-day life. Yeah, these pictures are great. They will, of course, be in the Substack. And I've done a reading for myself with these cards, and then I was getting ready and shuffling and getting them ready for today. And I noticed something. And I'm not going to tell you. So there's going to be 3 cards. And 2 of them stuck out to me because one was the very first card of the deck, and one of them is the very last card of the deck. So very much like
Nice.
on brand for today's episode. Very the world of these cards. So,
Nice.
like I said, there's 3, and we are going to start with card A. Also very appropriate. Beginnings. The flower on this card is the daffodil, and the butterfly is the violet copper. Daffodils conjure up pictures of spring. They blooms early, then lie dormant from summer till the end of winter. Many countries, such as the US, have spring festivals that pay homage to daffodils as the harbinger of spring. Native to the Mediterranean, this bulb thrives in various conditions so long as the soil is acidic and the summers are dry and warm. Since the 1600s, the popularity of daffodils has slowly spread first into neighboring countries and then further afield and across the ocean. They were introduced to the US by the 1800s. The Greeks were quite familiar with this plant. Pliny the Elder first recorded the name Narcissus and noted its medicinal nature, namely its astringent properties and ability to induce vomiting. Though poisonous in their straight plant form, daffodils were recently discovered to contain an alkaloid that helps aid the treatment of Alzheimer's disease. I can never say that. Alzheimer's disease. I can think of no better flower for beginnings than the daffodil. There are new beginnings around us all the time. Anytime there is change, there is a chance for a new creation. Anytime something passes, there is chance to start fresh. Every day brings a new dawn, a chance to start over, and another opportunity to do the things we have always wanted to do and be the person we want to be. Make today the birth of the person you want to be. Let go of the past. Thank it for helping you learn, grow, and start again. It doesn't matter how often you fall, just that you get up again. It's never too late for a new beginning. And then 2 questions. What new path or trait can I work on today? What is beginning for me, and how can I help it grow? Card 2, abundance. Flower, chrysanthemum, butterfly, popinjay. With its myriad petals that open fully to produce large blooms in varying colors, chrysanthemum is a perfect depiction of abundance. It grows wild in most of Asia, where it is used as a flowering herb in cooking. It has been celebrated throughout Eastern art and festivals for thousands of years and is considered sacred today. Cultivation and use of chrysanthemums spread to Japan from the 8th century, where it was adopted as the imperial seal of Japan and to describe the emperor's throne. It was brought to the United States during the 1700s as ornamentation. Ornamental breeding has been established for centuries and is still quite popular. Many varieties of shapes and colors have been created. The entire plant can also be used in cooking, with the flowering head used as tea and the leaves used as greens. This card is a reminder of all you have in abundance in your life. Look beyond material possessions and money and include everything that makes your soul feel full. You may have a multitude of friends and loved ones, or a wealth of little joys that you experience every day. Take this moment to acknowledge and thank the universe for all the bounty in your life. Show gratitude for your current abundances and be ready to accept new ones. Know that you walk through every day full in heart, spirit, and life. What positives do I experience abundantly? And our third and final card, wisdom. The flower is the purple iris, and the butterfly is the common map. And
Aw.
in the depiction, it does look like the butterfly wings look like maps. It's pretty incredible.
Aw.
I'll have to look up this butterfly. For the ancient Greeks, Iris was a goddess who personified the rainbow. Family members would plant irises on the graves of women in hopes that the goddess would guide the deceased to the afterlife. Egypt was also captivated by the iris and planted them around the tombs of kings. Iris oil has been used to clear the lungs and aid with coughing, and in more recent times in perfumes and aromatherapy. Within the past several generations, the iris has exploded into gardens all over the world, and with hundreds of variations, you can find almost any color you could hope for. Irises have been featured in paintings and poems throughout history and remain a popular garden and cut flower. Wisdom is associated with aging, but is a trait that should be cultivated and nurtured. We can help insight along by seeking out new experiences, living boldly, and facing the struggles of life. Understanding doesn't come from staying safe in your own little bubble and never venturing out into the world. This card asks you leave your safe spaces behind and gather wisdom wherever you can find it. Experience life, read, do something new, and make mental notes on what goes on around you. Stop, listen, and learn from those who are wiser than you. In this way, you will gain more wisdom and have the tools to make astute decisions as you move through life. How can I cultivate wisdom? Thank you, universe.
Thank you, universe. Those cards are beautiful.
Aren't they? And also, thank you to my friend Shane who gave me this deck.
Nice.
It's awesome.
Oh, I love that that all that information is in there. I love information. That's fantastic. Thank you.
And next week is our first Aquarius episode. The star. So with that, listeners, we will talk to you next week. We love you. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode. The Radical Podcast is created and produced by Nicole and Christina.
Music by Van Horton. His Instagram is Van Horton Music. Stay in touch with us at linktr.ee/theradicalpodnc.